Saturn isn't peaceful. It never was. And if you could actually reach it, you'd discover it's not even a planet. Everything you think you know about Saturn is a carefully crafted lie. Those beautiful rings, a planetary crime scene, that golden glow, a mask hiding something violent, and that hexagon at the North Pole. We still don't know what it is. This is cosmic exposure, and today we're tearing down the illusion. Let's start with the murder. From Earth, Saturn's rings look solid, smooth, perfect, like someone spray-painted a golden halo around a gas giant. But get close enough, and you'd see the truth. The rings aren't decoration. They're the shredded remains of a moon that got too close billions of years ago. Something the size of a small planet wandered into Saturn's orbit. It crossed what scientists call the Roche Limit. That's the point where gravity stops being gentle. Saturn grabbed this moon and tore it apart. Not quickly, slowly. It ripped the crust from the mantle from the core, and scattered the pieces into a ring 300,000 kilometers wide. But the rings aren't the strangest thing Saturn destroyed. We'll get to that. Right now, those rings are still moving. Chunks of ice, the size of houses orbiting at 70,000 kilometers per hour. If your spacecraft entered the rings, you wouldn't glide through. You'd be shredded by a high-speed blizzard of ice and rock. The rings aren't a crown. They're a grinder. But that's just the surface. Let's go deeper. Look at Saturn's North Pole. You'll see something that shouldn't exist. A perfect hexagon, not a circle, not an oval, not a spiral. 6 straight sides, each one wider than Earth. Nature doesn't do geometry. Storms are chaotic. They spiral, they swirl, they break apart. But this hexagon has been spinning at Saturn's North Pole for over 40 years. Maybe longer, maybe centuries. We don't know why it's shaped like this. We don't know what's holding it together. And we don't know what's in the center. Actually, we do know what's in the center, and it's worse than you think. Inside the hexagon, there's another storm, a massive hurricane with an eye 2,000 kilometers wide, wind screaming at 500 kilometers per hour. It looks like a rose made of violence, and it's been staring into space for decades. Drop a comment if you think the hexagon is natural or something else. But the hexagon isn't Saturn's only mystery. There's something hiding in its moons. But within seconds, the methane would freeze your lungs from the inside. The rivers would shatter your body like glass. And the ground beneath you, not sand, plastic. Titan's beaches are made of hydrocarbon grains. Static-charged plastic dunes hundreds of meters high. It's a world that mimics life, but is built from the ingredients of death. Remember when I said Saturn destroyed something stranger than a moon? Here it is. Let's say you somehow survived the rings. You avoided the hexagon, and now you're falling towards Saturn itself. At first, you'd see clouds, golden, beautiful clouds, but they're not water vapor. They're ammonia ice and methane. Your spacecraft starts heating up. You keep falling. The pressure builds. 10 atmospheres, 50, 100, the temperature climbs, and then you realize there's Earth. Saturn isn't a planet. It's a ball of hydrogen and helium with no solid core. You just keep falling deeper, hotter. The pressure reaches 1 million atmospheres. Your spacecraft, if it's even intact, gets compressed to the size of a car, then a suitcase, then a baseball. You don't crash. You don't burn up. You get crushed out of existence. Extended Cassini section. In 2017, we sent a spacecraft to find out. Cassini, for 13 years. It orbited Saturn, studied the rings, photographed the moons. It discovered geysers on Enceladus. It watched storms rage across the hexagon. It mapped Titan's methane lakes. Cassini sent back over 450,000 images. It revolutionized everything we know about Saturn. But eventually, it ran out of fuel. NASA had a choice. Let it drift into space and become space junk, or send it on one final mission. They chose the mission. But this wasn't just about ending Cassini's journey. It was about protecting something. Enceladus and Titan, Saturn's moons, might harbor life. If Cassini crashed into one of them, it could contaminate an entire world. So NASA gave Cassini one last task. The grand finale. 22 dives between Saturn and its rings, closer than any spacecraft had ever been. Cassini would fly through gaps barely wide enough to fit, collecting data no one had ever seen, measuring Saturn's magnetic field from the inside, tasting the particles raining down from the rings. And then, on September 15th, 2017, Cassini dove straight into Saturn's atmosphere. It wasn't an accident. It was a sacrifice. As it descended, Cassini fought to keep its antenna pointed at Earth, transmitting data until the very last second. Scientists watched in real time as the signal weakened. The heat built up. The hull began to melt. Cassini's thrusters fired desperately, trying to stay stable. But Saturn showed no mercy. The pressure crushed the spacecraft. The heat tore it apart. And then, the signal stopped. Cassini vaporized after traveling for 0.9 billion miles, after 294 orbits around Saturn, after 13 years of discovery. Cassini became part of Saturn forever, a robotic sacrifice to protect the moons we might one day explore. And those moons, one of them might already have life. One of them might already have life. There's a tiny moon called Enceladus, covered in ice, bright white, frozen salad, or so we thought. Then Cassini saw something. Geysers, massive jets of water, vapor shooting 200 kilometers into space. That means one thing: liquid water beneath Enceladus's frozen surface. There's a global ocean, warm, salty, full of organic molecules, the ingredients for life, and it's been hidden there for billions of years. We went to Saturn looking for gas and rock. We might have found neighbors. Do you think there's life under Enceladus's ice? Comment your theory. Saturn isn't peaceful. It's a graveyard orbited by potential life, a geometric storm we can't explain, and a toxic moon that looks exactly like Earth. But here's the final truth. Even the rings are dying. Saturn's gravity is slowly pulling them down. In 100 million years, they'll be gone. Saturn will be just another gas giant. So look at it while you can. It's a temporary masterpiece of violence and beauty, and it's hiding more than we'll ever know. This is Cosmic Exposure, where we reveal what the universe really is. If you want to see what's hiding under Europa's ice, that video's next. Subscribe and step beyond the illusion.